Hello and thanks for joining us on this fabulous Friday. I'm Jurnee Taylor and here are some of the headlines we're following right now. We are still working to learn more about the LRPD shooting that left one man dead and 2 officers on administrative leave. What we do know right now. A new innovation in tuberculosis detection involves a surprising furry helper. More on how these little guys are saving lives at 12:17. Plus, it's Big Buck Classic time in the capital city. Just ahead, we'll share everything in Arkansas that hunters need to know. But first, we have a look at weather. Nathan, Scott, I'm so happy it's Friday. Give me some good news.
Hey, I got some good news for you today. We're seeing lots of sun. Temperatures are warming up nicely. We're already about 13 degrees warmer here than 24 hours ago. Yesterday, almost 20 degrees warmer in Fort Smith. So that places the numbers well into the 50s. With all that clear sky, all that sunshine, it's doing a job. Temperature 55 right now in Little Rock. It's 54 in Hot Springs. Even folks to the north warming up into the upper 40s as that snow continues to melt slowly but surely, and it will be disappearing over the next couple days. A little bit on the breezy side. Winds are from the southwest to west around 10 to 20 miles per hour. So hold on to your hats. Temperatures today with that warm breeze, we're going to see those numbers climb up into the mid to upper 50s, maybe some low 60s for some folks, especially from Little Rock down to the south. However, this nice weather does not stick around for the weekend. Look at your rain chances going up. There's a spike on Saturday and looks like the chance of rain continues into Sunday. I'll have more timing and details on your weekend forecasts coming up.
Thanks, Nathan. Well, happening right now, some Arkansans are going on more than 3 days without power. Widespread outages are still a problem in northern Arkansas after the heavy snow that fell earlier this week. Take a closer look at this map. This is the latest from poweroutage.us. Outages just dropped to about 12,000 customers still without power right now. That's down from a peak of around 110,000 Wednesday morning. Crews are working around the clock to make repairs. Questions remain over yesterday morning's deadly shooting involving Little Rock police. We brought you the breaking news yesterday morning, just hours after 2 officers reportedly shot a man at a home on West 18th Street. He later died at the hospital. On Thursday, Police Chief Heath Helton said the officers responded to a 911 call and a woman reportedly told them her boyfriend was inside with weapons. Helton says after the man refused to come outside, the cops went inside.
Once inside the home, officers made several attempts to de-escalate the situation. However, the individual walked out of a bedroom with a gun to his head. After shots were fired, the subject fell to the ground. Officers immediately rendered aid and secured the weapon.
This morning, what we don't know is the suspect's name. Police are also not making it clear, at least for now, why the officers shot him. The 2 officers are now on administrative leave while an investigation is underway. We have requested the 911 call and body camera video from LRPD and are waiting to hear back. Now, yesterday's news conference came just hours after Heath Helton was sworn in as the city's 39th police chief. He becomes the first person to lead the department in 8 months without the word interim in their title. The previous chief, Keith Humphrey, retired last May. 2 other people served as interim chief until a permanent hire was made. Helton has been with LRPD since 1996 and was previously assistant chief. He also helped oversee the launch of the department's real-time crime center. Well, new this morning, we're learning 2 Hot Spring County Sheriff's deputies are now charged with assault and battery over a strange incident early this week. In a news release, Sheriff Scott Finkbeiner says his office launched an excessive use of force investigation after a man said he was beaten and pepper sprayed by deputies. The sheriff confirms 2 detention center employees dropped off the man at a gas station on Highway 70 in Saline County on Wednesday. The 2 deputies are now on leave and are facing criminal charges. The sheriff did not release their names. Well, the city of Memphis is preparing for possible unrest as the public awaits the release of video of police officers' confrontation with Tyree Nichols. The family of the 29-year-old man says the footage shows him being beaten relentlessly after a traffic stop earlier this month. He died 3 days later, and now 5 former officers are charged with second-degree murder. Jared Hill is in Memphis with the latest.
As Memphis braces for the release of police video showing the officers' violent confrontation with Jurnee Nichols, prosecutors explained why it was important to set expectations and appeal for calm beforehand.
When people actually see with their own eyes the kinds of things that occurred in this incident, there's an even greater potential, I think, for a very serious public reaction.
Nichols' family says the 29-year-old was restrained, beaten, tased, and pepper sprayed after being pulled over near his home in Memphis on January 7th. He died in the hospital 3 days later.
I'm sickened by what I saw.
The 5 officers involved in the traffic stop were fired and now face felony charges, including second-degree murder, aggravated assault, and official misconduct. Lawyers for 2 of the former officers said their clients will plead not guilty.
He could not be more upset about this entire situation. To be accused of being involved in the death of another is devastating to him.
Local officials chose to wait until after the school and business day was done to release this footage. Memphis area schools, in fact, canceled all after-class activities preemptively. At a vigil Thursday night, Jurnee Nichols' mother called for peaceful protests.
I don't want us burning up our cities, tearing up the streets, because that's not what my son stood for.
Nichols' family will hold a funeral for the father, FedEx worker, and avid skateboarder next week. Jared Hill, CBS News, Memphis.
Now, all 5 former officers charged in Nichols' death have been released on bond. The police body cam footage showing the attack on Paul Pelosi will also be released today. Police say the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was asleep in his home on October 28th when David DePape allegedly broke in and attacked him with a hammer. DePape has been charged with attempted murder. Now, the man who maced Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick on January 6th will be sentenced today. 33-year-old Julian Cater pleaded guilty to spraying Sicknick, who died the next day of natural causes. Prosecutors are seeking a 90-month sentence. Amazon is offering a new way to get prescription drugs. Prime members can sign up for a program called RX Pass. For an extra $5 a month, they can get unlimited access to dozens of commonly prescribed drugs. Amazon says the service will cover medications used to treat more than 80 common conditions like high blood pressure, anxiety, and acid reflux. Now in Washington, the National Archives now wants all former presidents and vice presidents to check their personal records for anything marked classified. Now this follows the discovery of classified items in the homes of President Biden, former President Trump, and former Vice President Mike Pence. As Robert Costa reports, some officials suggest the government's system of handling sensitive records is broken.
The past 6 administrations, dating back to Ronald Reagan, were asked by the National Archives on Thursday to recheck for classified material.
People need to be conscious of the rules regarding classified information and appropriate handling of them.
The warning from the FBI director comes after classified documents were found at the homes of a current and former president, plus a former vice president who said this just 2 weeks ago.
Our staff reviewed all of the materials in our office and in our residence to ensure that there were no classified materials that left the White House.
Face the Nation's Margaret Brennan spoke to the chair and vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, who are pushing intelligence officials for more information across the board about the sensitive papers that have been found.
The notion that we're going to be left in limbo and we can't do our job, that just cannot stand.
If in fact those documents were very sensitive, materials were sensitive, then the intelligence agencies are tasked with the job of coming up with ways to mitigate that.
In Pence's case, part of the explanation from one source is that Trump discouraged aides from admitting defeat and preparing to move out. So Pence's aides didn't begin packing until after the Capitol attack. Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, now a critic, says the process of dealing with classified records at the end of an administration has concerning gaps.
The transition out process for presidents and vice presidents is obviously flawed.
Robert Costa, CBS News, Washington.
Later today, former Vice President Pence is scheduled to speak in Miami, his first public appearance since the story broke this week. And on Capitol Hill, Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton is now threatening to hold up Biden administration nominees until officials share more details about what they know about all of these records. And something we wanted to remind you of, we have an unusual programming lineup that is set to interrupt our evening broadcast. The Farmers Open happens later today, so we will bring you the latest headlines on other platforms. You can join us online tonight for news, weather, and sports, just on a different screen. Scientists have discovered a new way to detect tuberculosis. You might have to see it to believe it, though. The story is in 5 minutes, but first, Nathan, what can we expect with this weather today?
Jurnee, the beautiful blue skies, the golden sunshine out there today will be disappearing going into the weekend. Rain chances go up, and then next week we're talking about the potential of maybe some winter weather for parts of the state. I'll have more on that forecast coming up.